live every Monday at 10. Call in 510-463-1145. 510-463-1145. And you can be on Sucio Talk. What do you guys think of my announcer voice? You guys like it? Good week. Good fucking week. The world's changing, guys. All right? I don't know if you noticed. Every restaurant's got a YouTube page. Restaurants are changing the narrative in which they advertise, right? Podcasts is going to be the new way. I know it is. Motherfuckers better recognize what's about to happen with Sucio Talk, all right? 510-463-1145. You can call in, be on Sucio Talk, tell your mom you were on a podcast. Hey, Mom, I was on a podcast. What podcast? Sucio Talk. Does that mean dirty? Yes, it does. Okay. Mira. Yo estoy haciendo este podcast ya por 2 años y me encanta. Ok, ahora estamos vivos a las 10 todas las noches, every night. I keep saying we're live at 10 p.m. every night. We only do this shit on Mondays, okay? We might change it to, or might do another one, depending on how popular we get. But Sucio Talk will continue. A lot of sad shit going on in the world today, so I'm just going to fucking skip right over that because we could spend all day on it if we let ourselves, right? So I hope you guys are safe out there, trying to be as safe as you can in this world. You know, I really think that Noel de Puerto Rico, what's up? Noel PR84. He used to actually work at Charter Oak with me a little bit. And now he's back in Puerto Rico, chilling, working. The show is part of the closing at restaurants now. That's what's going to start happening, guys. You know, while you're scrubbing down, this is what you're listening to. It's okay. It used to be music. But now you're listening to Sucio Talk, you know? In the world of food, what the fuck is going on? You know? We're over... Oh, you're in Tampa. Okay, what up? Shout out to Tampa. If you are out there scrubbing away, you know, working really hard to make tables happy, maybe you had a bad service, maybe you had a good service, this show is for you, you know. The people out there taking care of all types of hospitality for the people of this world, making pickles like Chef Samantha Paon over there. She was on the show. One of the very first Reels series that I did. Keep going on the short format content, but also not, because TikTok's being taken away. That's okay. But it's really changing the landscape of social media. I did notice that I was getting I thought it was shadow banned on Instagram. But Instagram tells you, hey, do Reels. So that's what I was doing. 3 Reels a day. Try to keep up, right? Then all of a sudden they took away the bonus that they give for Reels. I've never made money out of Instagram, and now you can get Meta verified, which, does that take away the value of being actually verified on Instagram? I don't know. It used to be that, you know, once you get famous enough, you get verified. Now, anybody can just buy a verification sticker on there. So maybe they'll have a different color for people who are out there doing things known, in a way to separate them. 'Cause content creation's fucking tough. You got to be out here doing it all the time. But I'm really trying to get into the advertising end of things with restaurants, brands. I want to get sponsors for the show. So I'm looking at sending my pitch deck to brands, chefs, cooks that want to get behind the show, donate a little bit of money so I can grow it, travel to restaurants far and wide, interview, talk to people, really fucking go hard on this, I feel like this podcast is important and it keeps proving itself to me every time I try to step away. So I got to just give in and know that I'm on the right journey and I'm going the right way, and I need to just believe in what I've always believed, is that Sucio Talk will be the podcast of the hospitality industry. And then after a while, I won't have to sit here and tell you how good this podcast is. It'll just be good. And then we could just continue making content. But while you're trying to sell the shit, and people are like, well, you got to do this, you got to do that. And I get it. Everybody is trying to help. They compare you to podcasts, but what podcast do you get compared to? You get compared to podcasts that have been around for 10 years, podcasts that are done by people who are professionals at talking into a microphone, looking at a camera, not necessarily people who have spent all their lives learning how to cook fucking eggs, okay? So it's a learning process, but I'm in it. So I'm content creating for restaurants. Book it. Donate. You can make a reel about you. Make reels and content that will forever live on the web about your product that you could repurpose. Keep using those fucking reels. Keep showing people off. Shout out to Erin Hupp. She's been having the same issues as me with Instagram, kind of like lowering her views. Been doing all this shit, reels, stories, posts, right? Staying up and current on Instagram. And I noticed that my reach went from 10K to 7K, right? Which tells me, like, what the fuck? I was doing less before, and I had more people looking and following. So that kind of shit pisses me off, And it seems like more and more, you're going to have people that get into this podcast game because it's a gold rush right now, right? Everybody wants to get in, wants to have podcasts. I'm looking for motherfuckers who are real, who really want to have a podcast, who really got something to say, who really want to share narratives and really want to have hard conversations. I'm there for you. We'll help you produce the show, right? I got the equipment. You're the talent. Book it, okay? We can help you make a motherfucking podcast. Have you ever wanted to do one? You can, okay? With my help, of course. Because, this isn't the only podcast that I'm going to have in my life. It's not. Maybe it won't be another podcast by myself. Maybe it'll be with people who want to be co-host. But I plan on managing podcasts and making sure that we really build a community of people that can say shit the way that it's meant to be said without any issues. Okay? Erin Hupp Ceramics. Erin Hupp saw my issue that Instagram was kind of shadow banning me a little bit. So she gave me a shout out on her story. And well, look at that. The world of fucking cell phones. You ask and you shall receive. I said, hey, Instagram, what in the fuck? Why are you shadow banning me? And then what they do, they put it back out there. I got, out of the 50 people that were looking at my stories, now I got 350, which is about normal. So, you spend all your time trying to work something out. And it really is up to the fucking algorithm and, So that's why I say, go over to the Instagram, share some shit, share the podcast. I was at a restaurant today. I was looking around, and restaurants are truly the place where shit goes down. Engagements, birthdays, breakups, all types of shit happens. And shit's got to go down somewhere, right? That's why we need restaurants. You need to have a venue where you can get married, get divorced, mourn a loss, celebrate a birth, fuck some hoes, go with your boys, or your chicks, whatever it is, The future is food podcast. I don't give a fuck what anybody says. Everybody's going to be like, do you think that there's actually going to be magazines 50 years from now? You're out of your mind. Everything's going to be digital. Everything. It's not, after a while, it's going to get expensive to produce newspapers, books. We take it for granted, guys. Not just endless fucking supplies, right? And if you think about it, everybody now uses the supply chain more than before COVID, right? Before COVID, you could buy yeast, flour, anywhere you wanted. Now, shit is always running out. We got an egg pandemic. Fucking chickens dying and shit. We don't have enough eggs. What are we going to do? Food podcast allows us to commentate in real time rather than wait for an article to be written. The conversations can be had now. And that's what I see is the future. And if you don't fucking believe me, you're going to start to see that shit happen more and more and more. And don't forget where you heard it first, here on Sucio Talk, okay? I'm not saying I was the first food podcast, because I'm not. But I'm one of the best, and I fucking know that shit. And you know it too, okay? The new wave of media, we need to attract young children. Not in that way. To work, right? How do we get them to be interested in wanting to be a chef over what's going on now, what everybody wants to be? And then we got, oh my God, crazy. Doing Coachella on the, what is it? I believe it's the 16th and the 22nd of the 2 weekends. So that's what we're doing. Going out there, working. Coachella. It's going to be fun. We'll see what happens. Never been. Can't wait to see all the people dehydrated on drugs. Please drink fucking water, because you need to drink fucking water in order to do drugs in the hot desert sun, you sons of bitches. So while you're out there getting that sun getting nice and toasty, I hope you can understand that you need some goddamn protection. You don't want to be burning your fucking forehead. I also need to go bungee jumping. Um, I need to do more extreme sports. I need to have more of an adventure. Shout out to Jason McKinney. He came by, hung out. Guy works hard. You know, Truffle Shuffle, still hustling. Shout out to Chef Tucker. He's on next level chef. And I'm hoping, praying that she wins, praying that she gets to where she needs to go. I want to wish everybody good. You know, a lot of everybody that's been doing a lot of hard work for a long time has been getting recognized. Joe Sasto has been doing a lot with Food Network, and he's honestly like probably one of the next Food Network stars. You know, it's probably get him as big as Guy Fieri. I could see it. I could see it. So many blessings to him. Blessings to everybody out there opening a restaurant. I know restaurant openings are hard. I know that it's not ideal. I know it's not ideal to open restaurants. Just the time it takes, you know. I really do think that you need to be able to work on your craft for longer than 8 hours a day in order to achieve greatness. Okay? There's no fucking way any of the greatest things that we've ever experienced, movies, art, restaurants, anything that was constructed within an 8-hour fucking work period. Okay? It just doesn't work that way. So then I ask, what is this work-life balance that everybody wants? Seems to me like people want to do less and get paid more, which is okay. If that's the way we're going, then let's go. And it isn't fair. You know, it's not fair that people have to work fucking harder than others, you know, but that's the world we live in. The world isn't fair. And I feel like a lot of times we look at the way that the world is and we say that it's not fair. But truly, we have no understanding of what it really means anyway. But then we try to define it. And that's our problem, I think. I think we're trying to define what life is. We're like, what is the meaning of life? And that's the meaning. There is no meaning. You know? Lots of sad-ass memes about dying and then nobody cares about you. People really got to stop making that content. It's very sad. Very, very, very sad. Spotify for podcasters. It's what I use to make this podcast. Check it out. Also, shout out to Caviar Co. in San Francisco. Petra Higby just had an article in Business Insider, I believe. Chef Scotty Davis, what up? Nice to have you on the live. How the fuck are you? How are your restaurants? How's your life? Are you having fun? Are you chefing out there? It's an ever-changing world, man. But that's the beauty of it, you know? Landed a stage at Locales. Locales. Very, very nice, sir. Very, very nice. Do you want to work there? Do you want to work at Locales? Or are you just staging for fun? Do you believe that you should be paid for a stage? Do you believe that a stage should be long? Do you think you can really get what somebody can do in 4 hours of them being in your kitchen? I don't fucking think so. So what I'm saying is, to all the businesses out there, restaurant businesses, that are running outside of California, you have it so good, okay? I mean, I don't know what the labor laws are everywhere else, but all I know is chasing people around to get them on break because your business is going to get penalized if you do not give people break is the single worst thing that has ever happened to California labor law. People don't pay stages in Florida. That's right. It's a hot subject because some people are like, you should get paid for your work. And I understand that, but it's okay to spend a couple of days or however much time you want, however much time you individually want to spend at the place, the thing, doing the job for free. I don't think that that person should be crucified for doing that. You know, if people want to go stage at Noma and work for free and gain experience, then let them do it. And if Rene Redzepi is not going to stop it, and I would like all these people that talk shit to be in his shoes and then say that they would do it differently. Because you wouldn't. You wouldn't do it differently. People are just doing what they know how to do. No one knows any better, guys. As much as you think people know better, they don't know any better. Right? That's where things... It's going to save you a lot of time from being upset if you just understand that motherfuckers don't know any better. And the simplest shit, the most common sense shit that makes you like say, why don't they understand that? They just don't get it. They will not get it. People understand shit on their own time. It's just the way it is. Humans need to understand how to tap into themselves to know how they learn, right? Chef Scott Davis says he would love to get on the podcast. I met you back when I staged at Charter Oak, back when Kat was the chef and you were taking over. Well, Chef Scott Davis, you are in luck because you can call the podcast right now. 510-463-1145. And you can talk on the show. Remember, I record these, I put them out, so you'll be on here. You can tell your mom that you went on a podcast. But if not, all good. I definitely want to see you in person, have you on the podcast in person. I want to have everyone on the podcast that I can in person. I don't like doing virtual. That's okay. We'll figure that out. Sometimes I have to. Motherfuckers are in Japan. Coleman Griffin, trying to set him up with a podcast to see what he's doing over there at Restaurant Sour. Sower. Sour. Very proud of him. I'm proud of everybody doing their own thing, doing their things, getting out there. Oh, here we go. Oh, yes.
Call from.
Scotty Davis.
To accept, press 1. To send a voicemail, press 2.
Scotty.
Hey, Dave. How are you?
What's going on, man? How are you?
I'm good, man. Thanks for picking up.
Yeah, no problem, man. That's the point, you
So
know?
Yeah.
How you been,
Finally,
man? What's
man.
going on?
Oh, I've been super busy, man. I took over a restaurant during the pandemic, and since then, it's just been go, go, go.
Yeah, what's the restaurant name?
It's called Townhouse.
Townhouse.
It's part of a resort up here in Lodi, California,
Right,
and the restaurant's concept is French comfort fine dining cuisine.
right.
So I started a whole animal project there and a fermentation project there with a couple of the other chefs, but being out here in the Central Valley, it's a little bit difficult to find some solid talent, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, no, I hear you. That's a problem that I hear a lot about places, like you're saying, remote places like Hawaii, like touristy areas.
Yeah.
How do you change that? Do you think you can change that?
I think that I have implemented a little bit of change over time by advertising through the Instagram, public outreach, going to culinary schools, word of mouth, that sort of thing,
Right.
and creating a, positive atmosphere, kitchen culture-wise.
I hear that. Um,
Yeah.
how many people do you have on your staff?
Underneath me, I only have 8.
Got it.
So
Okay.
super small crew, fish station, meat station, cold side, and then 2 sous chefs.
Right. Okay. Got it.
But yeah, so I'm the chef de cuisine. Got 2 sous chefs underneath me. 1 a.m., 1 p.m. Tradish,
Right.
and then a couple CDPs and a lead and like a junior sous.
Right. And then how many hours are you working? How many days are you working a week?
Man, I'm pushing 6 days, 7 days sometimes.
Right.
Yeah.
How long you been doing that?
2 years.
2 years. Okay.
Yeah.
Are you Yeah, go ahead.
There's something just super difficult about that chef de cuisine position. I mean, it's a hard job.
It really is, man. You're
As you know.
it's very lonely because,
I know.
you can't be friends with your boss, can't be friends with your employees, right? So
Right.
it's like you're in this
That
hard
line
place.
is so hard to cross.
Yeah, and then you are responsible for everything. Every negative thing that happens, every positive thing that happens.
Oh my goodness gracious.
Yeah. Do you see
The
yourself?
work-life.
Yeah, work-life balance
balance
doesn't exist.
is not there. Yeah, it does not happen.
Right. But
I've been following you, and I've been a huge fan of what you've been doing ever since I met you. Actually.
Yeah, you came to stage at Charter Oak. How was your stage, actually?
I don't think you might not remember, but you stuck me with a guy named Grant.
Yeah, Grant's the man. Shout out to Grant.
Yeah, he was excellent. He was really, really, really good. So Kat was she must have been 5.5, 6 months pregnant at that time.
Yeah, she was.
Maybe even more.
She was bursting at the seams when she was still working the line, bro. Still grilling on that hearth when she was 8 months pregnant. I mean,
it's crazy.
Yeah, but
I remember her introducing me to you, and you were super intense, but very, very helpful.
That's right, man.
I really, really respected the way that you treated the the stages. You asked me to jump into the dish pit. Of course, yeah, chef. We did that. It was a good one. It was one of my favorites, and I've staged all over.
Yeah. What was other than that? What's another notable stage that you've had?
I would say Ben Yu was a really good one.
Okay. What around what
And
time
then,
was this?
ooh, this was way back in probably 2017. I can't even
27.
remember the name of the chef that was there.
Right.
And I'm trying to rack my brain.
Was Coleman Griffin working there?
Yeah, Coleman. It was Coleman. Coleman was there.
Oh, no way. Okay.
So yeah, Coleman Griffin was there, and shit, yeah, I mean those guys, well-oiled machines.
Yeah, they're super hardcore.
Well-oiled machines.
Was that like a fun kitchen or was it fucking silent?
Oh, it was silent. I mean, they are super, super, super serious in there.
Yeah. That's what
But I mean, good lord, they were, putting out amazing food.
Yeah.
They were, they had that place running really, really well.
Yeah, that's what I've heard, man. I just can't do the silence, bro. It's not.
Yeah.
I can't.
Yeah,
man.
you guys had music playing in
You
Charter Oak.
fucking blast that shit. I can't. I mean, that was the best part about Meadowood. They would just blast the
Yeah.
music all day long.
And you guys had like your themes too, which was team building.
Yeah, exactly. So
It was cool.
yeah, I think that the music can help cut out the monotony of the day. However, I will say that if the same motherfucker has the playlist on, you start
Yeah.
listening to the same music over and over again. That's when it starts to get like, please stop.
Right.
But
right.
also, if you have the music on in the kitchen, it helps you appreciate the silence.
Right.
Yeah, and can almost, help you with discipline a little bit.
Oh,
Like,
absolutely.
like,
Absolutely.
hey, we usually listen to music, but today we're gonna cut it down a little bit.
No, absolutely.
Yeah. What is your end goal? What do you want to do?
Well, I want to teach eventually.
Right.
So I want to, get as much, kitchen work while my body can.
Right.
And then at some point teach.
Is that university or high school or?
I mean, I'm thinking more with youngsters. I mean, maybe like a Votech school like you went to or something
Right.
like that.
Has that always been
Yeah.
a thing that you've wanted to do?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So you
So
got
what about you? What about you, Dave? I mean, I know you've been looking for work.
end goal? Yeah, man, I've been looking for work. I'm just making sure it's the right thing because I know myself and I know if I hop into something, I'm like 100% committed and I will be, that intense person. Right,
Oh,
but
you
like
are an exceptional chef.
yeah, so I just like
wherever you land, you're gonna be lucky.
yeah, and so I feel that and I'm just kind of making sure that it's the right thing before I just hop into something that I don't know, because again, I'm loyal. So it's like if I'm doing something, I'm fucking doing it and I'm there. I'm going to be there for quite a while.
Yeah.
Cuz the last thing I want to do is like be that flaky chef like showing up and working somewhere for 6 months and then cuz yeah, and like things aren't always going to be perfect, and so
Right.
it's easy for people to just be like, "Oh, it's not perfect. I'm leaving."
Right. That first year is just getting your footing.
Exactly. So you really need a couple years to get, where you need to go and allow myself that. I just know that I need to love where I live. Like I really love Napa. Yeah. I miss it. Will I go back and live there? I'm in Oakland now. The thing that sucks about the Bay is how expensive it is.
Oh my goodness gracious!
It's just like
it's not just the Bay. I mean, it's pricey everywhere.
Yeah, it's all of California. Yeah,
specifically the Bay.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, also the worst part of it is getting your car broken into, and like being afraid that somebody's gonna break into your house.
Yeah,
and steal your shit that you've worked hard for. It's like that's why you're there to work. And it's like,
yeah,
so I just don't want to deal with
Yeah.
that. You know, like I've already lived in fucking shitty neighborhoods in Providence, Rhode Island, and things like that. Like I don't need to prove shit, and I don't want to live somewhere that it's like constant fear of getting broken into, because I've already had my house broken
No.
into, and like the person that did it cut themselves and bled everywhere. So it's like
Oh
a
my God.
kind of a traumatic experience, you know, like to find your shit gone, your windows smashed. It's winter, so like it's cold as fuck in your house because the heat's all going away, you know, out the window.
Yeah, and then there's blood everywhere.
Yeah, and then there's blood everywhere, and you're like, okay, well, what the fuck? Like, and the second
God
time he broke the sink, so basically
No.
the water was running, and then when we came back, we were gone for Christmas break. It was in college, and when we came
Yeah.
back, the sink had been running, so the water was frozen, going into the drain.
Oh, and it racked up your water bill.
Yeah, exactly. So racked up the water bill, fucked up the drains. Like, I mean, just a lot of shit that we wasn't right. And then you feel violated. You know, they take your, they take your computer, and it's like, fuck, man. It's like,
God.
you know. So it's just
Oh
like,
my
why deal with it? You know, and
Yeah.
but that's what you got to deal with in any city. You know, because I'm like, oh, where am I gonna move?
Right.
I'd like to move to Austin. Okay. Fucking
Mhm.
same shit over there. Homeless, shootings,
Yeah.
you know, and
Yeah, but I hear that it's, other than Nashville, it's very much up and coming.
yeah, I think that's right. I think that there's a lot of entertainment, acting people, and comedians and shit going over there, as well as a lot of restaurants, chefs, and a lot of money
Mhm.
too. A lot of like money people are going over there. And that's like
Oh,
the
for sure.
second. I'm seeing a lot of second home situations over there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
So,
I mean, have you been keeping in touch with Kevin Finch and all the homies?
yeah. So Kevin Finch, I talked to him the other day. I do keep in touch with him. I know that he's just traveling the globe doing his little pop-up activations. I think
Right.
that he might get a brick and mortar going soon, maybe next year. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But it's hard to keep up, man, and I try not to take it personal, because especially in this industry, like, so many people. It's so hard to keep up with everybody,
Yeah. Yeah.
keep everybody together and all that.
Right.
And, people get busy. They got restaurant openings. They don't have the time to, keep up the friendships. And this is, I think, the first time in my life that I'm really seeing that you could lose friendships,
Yeah.
I guess I never, like, when I left Connecticut, like, I only talked to one person that's my boy in Connecticut. Other than that,
Yeah.
like, his family,
Yeah.
So it's like I don't really, but after a while, you end up isolating yourself so much that you're like, wait a minute, do I have friends? You know what I mean? You're looking around, you're like, what the fuck's going on here?
You're like, where is everybody?
Yeah, where is everybody? Yeah, you're like, oh man, I put my head down and went to work for 10 years, and then I turned around and there's nobody here.
Everybody's gone.
Yeah, but when that restaurant goes away and those things aren't there anymore, those are the people that are gonna be there for you.
Right.
And so it kind of makes it into perspective. Like, yeah, you have to go sometimes and, move into the woods and just fucking work for 2 years and not talk to anybody. But then you got to fucking come out. Because if you stay there too long, you're going to be weird.
Exactly.
You don't want to be weird.
No.
Yeah, man. You got any family out there, or you just you soloing it?
Yeah, I got my mom. She's not too far, but I mean, Localis, they just got their star, so I figure I might try to go over there and help them get their second. I don't know. We'll see.
Right. That's
Yeah.
legit, man. I'm excited for you to get that going for yourself, and shout out to you for for sort of going and staging. After having like an executive chef position. Not a lot of us are taught that that's wrong. That like,
No,
you don't
not.
do that. And it takes a humble
Yeah.
a humble cook.
You got to keep that. You got to keep that sort of mentality, that sort of thing alive. You know.
Yeah, for sure.
Otherwise, you just get burnt out and bored.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Hey, but Dave, I mean, I appreciate the time. I appreciate everything you're doing. I keep up on all your podcasts, and it helps me. So good on you.
I appreciate it, bro. Thank you so much for calling in, man. I'll
Hey man, I'll try to call next week, let you know how that stage went.
all right, word up, man. Stay safe
All right,
out there,
stay
man.
up. Okay, hey, shout out mom.
Hell yeah, shout out mom.
Shout out mom. Shout out Costa.
Fuck yeah, shout out Chef Costa.
All right, Dave.
All right, brother. Take care.
Have a good night. Bye.
Peace out. So there you have it. Chef Scotty Davis came to stage. That's when I met him. And you heard it from him. Exceptional motherfucking Chef David over here. Okay? It's not a lie. Not out here saying I'm a chef. Like some people I know that call themselves a chef up in Napa Valley selling pasta. Calling yourself a fucking chef up there. I know you're not a chef, you son of a bitch. You're an impersonator. All right? Going around telling people that you worked at the French Laundry, that you worked at Meadowood, that you worked at Charter Oak. You didn't work at these places. You don't have to lie. Just be truthful. You can call yourself a chef. Just don't say that you worked at these places because it's disrespectful to the people that actually did. You know? Staging, man, it's one of those things. You meet a lot of people and they remember how you fucking treated them, you know? So you got to treat them well. You got to treat people well. Like, imagine if I was a dick to Scotty Davis. We'd be having a really different conversation right now, you know, on the phone here on Sucio Talk. A lot of people say that they can't read my logo. I took it out today and somebody was like, Suco? Nobody can read the logo, so that's going to have to be reworked. I like the logo, but also not married to it. I've had 2 logos. They're getting more legible as we go here. I'm just going to have to make the next one more legible. It's okay. The show can transition through logos, all right? I ain't fucking McDonald's. I don't have to live on the Golden Arches for 10 years. If you know any artists out there that want to make some shirts for Sucio Talk, not just a stencil of the HEIC logo file, but also some original art, some original Sucio Talk art. So calling artists out there, you got an artist friend, let me know. I am on the job hunt still. Looking for that position that's going to be right for me. That's going to help me transition to the next. I'm not looking for a lifelong commitment. Okay. Do you want to make your shit better? I'm there to do that. And then 2, 3, 4, 5 years from now, I'm going to fuck off. Okay. Because the podcast, the traveling, the doing the show, the eating, the post-dinner press conferences that I want to do. You know, imagine that. You go to a guest chef dinner, and then afterwards, you can watch on your way home from the dinner, you can watch those same chefs on YouTube talk about the food and what their ideas were behind it in a cool, calm, relaxed way. If actual press wants to show up, they can show up. I'm doing a round of donations. It's going to be tiered, right? For example, tier 1 will be $1,000, $1,000. That'll get your name on the show as an executive producer. And then past that, you can have VIP member access to shout-outs on the show. And then the $5,000 tier, still ideating this, but I think that includes a dinner cooked by myself for you and your friends, a Michelin-rated dinner for you and your friends at a private location of your choice. And then you'll get your shout out, your executive producer role, right? As well as advertising on the show and content production. And then we got for the big ballers, got the 10 Gs. 10 Gs gets you access to me for more than one event. And you're helping out. This is a perk investment, right? A perk donation. You're not going to see monetary returns on this money, but you will see returns in your life, right? With a special team that's going to travel around the world and document the stories of the cooks, chefs, dishwashers, sommeliers, bartenders, chef de parties, back waiters, general managers, assistant managers, porters, morning prep guys, laundry people, towel people, all the fucking people that it takes to run a restaurant. All that I said right there is all necessary to run a restaurant. Okay? I think the world of the large restaurants kind of coming to an end. People want smaller restaurants. Restaurant groups need to go. It's not sustainable. There's a lot of Michael Mina restaurants out there that suck. I know this firsthand information, okay? And when somebody within that company says, hey, don't eat at a Michael Mina restaurant because of this, this, and this, I don't have respect for that. Noel, what you think about a pop-up podcast live? Yes, 100%. That's we need to do that. That's what I want to do. I want to be able to do the show sometimes in intimate spaces where people can come in, have food while they listen to the podcast. Un poquito comida, un poquito música, podcast, party after. That's the thing. How much would you pay for that? With food included. Food, drinks, tasting menu. 200. The aim is to do. I might do one-man shows first to just get the rhythm that I need on stage and become better at public speaking, How do you become better at shit? You do it over and over again until you get it, okay? That's the way you do it. So, I was thinking about this podcast, where it's going, where it's come from, and I think long ago when it was just audio. Now we got the video. First few were really shitty with the lighting and all that. Shout out to all the people out there that have been on the podcast, and then afterwards, the podcast hasn't sounded great, hasn't looked great, and you guys are really nice. You haven't said anything. You haven't said, like, hey, fucking take that shit down or don't represent me like that. I'm really just grateful for all that. And I'll tell you what I'm not grateful for. People that leave you on scene, okay? If you don't want to be on the podcast, just say no. It's okay. I'm not angry at you. But when you look at a motherfucking message and you don't say anything, you don't acknowledge someone, I get it. You don't have time to answer? Cool. You forgot? Cool. But some motherfuckers, I see it too much. You know? And it's just sad. It really is sad that, like, that you could post some shit about restaurants and they won't repost it. Like, I was surprised that Damien reposted the podcast with me and Carlos, but they won't, like, past what I posted, you know, and they reposted, they won't post anything about it on their page, you know. That's going to change. After a while, these motherfuckers aren't going to have a choice. They're going to have Sucio talk in. They're going to have to. Because the people are going to be like, yo, we want to listen to Sucio. We want Sucio. ¿Tú quieres Sucio? Aquí estoy. You know? That's the way it needs to be. Thoughts on growth opportunities for cooks at 2 or 3 Michelin star restaurant spots versus dope a la carte restaurants from great chefs? I think both are necessary. This is the problem. I think that a lot of times we go into the cooking industry and we say, I'm a fine dining chef, and we stay fine dining. I'm a la carte chef. We stay a la carte. I'm in hotels. You stay in hotels, right? We need to cross-train people better. So I think for growth, yeah, you need to work at a 1 Michelin star. Yes, you need to work at 2 Michelin star. I never worked or really saw 2 Michelin star restaurants. They're kind of rare. Yeah, you need to work and eat at a 3 Michelin star restaurant. I think that they both have their challenges. I think that managing at a 3-star level is a little bit easier because everybody's on the same page about wanting to be great. I think it's hard to be a manager at a la carte restaurants because you have to manage people that aren't necessarily there to be the greatest chef they can be and, like, you know, be in the industry because they're passionate about it. A lot of it's situational when it comes to a la carte big restaurants. So there's nothing wrong with that, you know, and I think that it teaches you to be a leader to people that don't want to be led. They just want to do their job and they want to go. They want a boss. They don't want a leader. You know, this would happen to me all the time at Charter Oak, where I'd, like, try to invite all the morning guys and everybody to eat together and, like, be, you know, part of the family. Sometimes they could give a fuck less about eating together and what that means to everybody, you know. So just like your family, you just got to let everyone be them. And then you'll get the best out of them, you know. So definitely need that 2-3 Michelin star training. It's good for form. It's good for repetition. A la carte restaurants are good for speed. Repetition as well obviously happens, but the speed part of it is what changes. The pace is what changes. I see a lot of tasting menu restaurants nowadays. There's a lot of cooks standing around not doing shit, you know? And that can't be where we go as a restaurant industry, to just have, you know, cooks standing there for no reason. You know what I mean? to be a business, you have to be a business. You know what I mean? You got to be about that money. Unfortunately, but fortunately, that is what we need to do in order to do the things we want to do. Is we need cash. It's just the way it is. All right? First world problems. Here we go. Some people don't have water, so just be grateful about where the fuck you're at. I think dope a la carte restaurants can also teach you how to work with a range of service staff. Again, fucking 14-year-old or the 16-year-old kids that are just going into the workforce work at those places. You have a chance to be some of the first professionals that they encounter, you know? And they'll always remember you, because how many times do you hear, oh, I used to work at a restaurant when I was 14, and I remember the chefs were this, or I remember that were that. You could teach somebody something at that young age. They're so impressionable. You can teach them really good lessons if you do it correctly. You know, if you're there to nurture them. But at the 2-3 star level, you don't really have young cooks there, and if you do, it's kind of an anomaly. Like the 22, 21-year-olds, they're usually interns. Past that, you don't really have any full staff employees that are living that life. So yeah, that's my thought. You need it. I talked to Hillary. She was a pastry chef at Joe Flam's restaurant, and her resume was very like 1 year here, 1 year here, 1.5 year here, and a lot of chefs will talk shit about that and say, oh, well, you haven't stayed anywhere long enough, which is also a problem, right? So you want to make sure that in your career there's a fine or a balance, I guess, of technique driven, right, restaurants, establishment driven, and ambition driven. Go work at a hotel, work at a restaurant, know the difference. Don't just work at fucking restaurants your whole life. Like, go get some, act like you've been somewhere, you know? Work at a fucking ice cream shop, work at a bake shop. Know the different stations. You're going to have to manage this shit when you're a chef anyway, right? It's good to know firsthand. Sometimes I say, hey, why don't I do a front of the house role and check in and see, like, if this is something I think I can learn from, you know? There's also a narrative that if, like, you leave the game, you'll never come back and be a chef. And I say, go fuck yourself, because I'm going to open my restaurant in 10 to 15 years, right, by myself, with my loot, right, from the show or whatever else. And I can do that. And a lot of us, people open restaurants that haven't been classically trained. You understand that? There's a lot of people out here that open restaurants, successful restaurants, that have never cooked professionally in their life. Professional chefs fail, you know, almost the same as regular people trying to open up restaurants. As long as you're willing to work really, really fucking hard, you can make your restaurant work. Why? Because as the owner, you're just working and not paying employees. You're just doing everything. And that's sometimes, a lot of times, what it takes to make money that first year of being open. Restaurants don't really make money the first year they're open. And we need to understand that that's the case. And for all the restaurants that did make money in their first year, shout out to you. That shit is difficult, and you fucking did it. And you did it by outworking everyone, staying late, coming in early, scraping the roadkill off the fucking pavement. You know? So I hope all of you can take that with you. Pack it up. Suciotalk.com. Noel, you're right. Cash flow is key. Suciotalk.com. Merchandise I took the shop off of Instagram and Facebook. Don't buy from there anymore. I'm figuring some shit out with them. Regardless of that, everything's good. I feel safe. I feel loved. And I hope you guys all feel the same way, you know. While we're on this big